Okay, here we go. It's the big one. Our 50th of our show, Double Trouble. Two title fights on the line. We've got quite a few exciting debuts as well. Um, so it's going to be good. It's going to be a good show. Jim Carpenter's co-main eventing, making, I believe, defense number 2. He's the first fighter to get to do the second defense, and he's got Sapatov to overcome, which will be a very tough fight for him. It's the first fight Jim's going into, I think, of his whole career that he's not the favourite to win. So it'll be very interesting to see. But having said that, Sapatov has only lost once in his whole career, and it was back in his debut, and it was Jim who beat him. So this is a rematch. But it was almost. I went back and looked at the fight, and Sapatov was dominating the ground game, but he was losing standing up, and it was just kind of a lucky punch in a sense that Carpenter hit him with. So it's really a case of if Jim can keep it up on the feet, he's got a good chance of winning, but Sapatov can very easily take Jim to the ground. So it's just a case of if he pounces on that tactic or if he opts to use something else, but we'll see. Matthew Dean also makes his first defence after beating Rob Baines, and he's got Malfi Robbie to overcome 6-0. Not really beating anyone of any real significance, but we'll see. He likes his kicks, which is one of the things Matthew's weak at. It's Muay Thai and it's his kick, but he's so good. He's just so good. It's kind of stupid how good he is. And he's only going to get better and better, really. He's only 22 years old. The only thing he really lacks, which is what could be better, is his markability, but he just beats everyone anyway. It doesn't even matter. He's going to gain pop regardless. But of course, he is the current rookie fighter of the year. He's already beaten Rob Baines this year to take the belt off him, the world ranked number 1 at the time in his weight class. So if he can successfully defend his belt today against Robbie and maybe even fight again before the end of the year, he's on course to win Fighter of the Year next season, honestly, or at the end of this year. But we also have Cohen Eddings, who has won his last 2 fights. He beat Pereira and Gomez. Both guys were favourite to beat Eddings at the time, and they were also unbeaten at the time, and Eddings handed them both the first loss of their career. But he's got a big challenge against Bora, who's on a bit of a win streak right now after the poor start he had to his career back in 1990. But he started this year very well and ended 1990 very well. Pereira, of course, one of the guys he's lost to, who Eddings, his opponent today, has actually beat. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. He's managed to shoot right up the rankings. He's the second best lightweight in the world right now because of the momentum he's got going behind him. So if he can beat Eddings today, he's going to be sitting good in lightweight to possibly fight Gorshin down the line, maybe, with maybe one more win after this. Then we got Gage Rosignol, who, for the first time in his career, if he wins this fight, will have back-to-back wins. So fingers crossed for him. Then we got national caliber karate fighter Sekizawa, who's 2-2, against Yamashita, who's back after his first career loss to Mario. So he'll really want to bounce back as quick as he can by beating Sekizawa here. Then we got an interesting debut for Keegan Cliff, the 18-year-old world caliber wrestler. Very good, but I'll give you guys a second if you can see where he's lacking. Huh? You saw it yet? Anything pop out that's a little weird? Yup, his chin. 22% from the get-go at 18 years old. Lets him down massively. So hopefully he wins today to boost him up a little bit, but if he loses, I won't be surprised, honestly. Then we got Anasina, who was on the short end of the stick when he fought Sapatov, which was their number 1 contender fight to see who would fight Gorshin for the next title shot, and he just fell short. So he's going to be even more motivated to win this fight and push himself back up to get in that position again that he was in. And he's got Dan Halverson fairly easy. Dan's deteriorating a lot now. He's a lot older. He should be able to get the job done. And then 2 very exciting debuts. Again, we're getting a lot of these good guys coming in the game world now. Middleweight, JJ Reed comes in at 22 years old. I like JJ a lot. He's very good black belt, world caliber jiu-jitsu. He's a master of many submission moves. He's very good. I like him. He's not, sometimes in my saves, he's sometimes not very consistent, But if you can get his momentum rolling and get him in a good camp, he can do some work in middleweight, which is nice to have him. And then someone who's definitely not inconsistent, 22-year-old, the Croatian sensation, Asanovic, comes in at light heavyweight. This guy's a monster. And unlike JJ Reed, he's got very good light conditioning, chin, striking game's on fire, takedown defense is good. A lot of good, exciting combat traits too that he's got. So I'm glad we have another solid light heavyweight to add. So those two should hopefully win their debuts. And we got Andrew Rush as well, the demon from Derbyshire, who's not quite as good as the other two, to be honest, but it's another debut. So let's kick on and see how all these guys get on, and we'll run through the two title fights at the end of the card. Okay, it's maybe not the most prettiest finish. Only gets a decent rating, but it's a debut win for the demon from Derbyshire to go 1-0 at 22 years old. In fact, that's keen. I just realised that Andrew, Asanovic and JJ Reed all came into the game at 22 years old. But this loss also means that Marco gets cut, because he goes 0-3. Well, this debut went much more exciting than Andrew Rush's. It's a great rated knockout punch first round finish, as expected, for the world caliber kickboxer, to give Arslanian his fourth loss of his career. So I'm excited to have Asanovic in the promotion. I'm excited to see how he does and how far he can get, to be honest. Another great rated debut, which is very nice to see, a rear naked choke first round finish too, for JJ Reed. Another guy I'm excited to see how far he can go. He's a bit of a dog, JJ Reed. He can pull off some pretty solid wins against really good middleweight guys. So that's 3 out of 3 on debut. So we'll see if Gasper, with the very weak chin, can make it 4 out of 4. Oh, he's also calling out Zacco already. That's something we love to see straight off the bat. Well, nice, not too bad. Another third great rated show in a row, or fight, sorry. It's a third round submission finish, and it's Anasina who gets the win. You know, he's all that fire's fueled him up from his Sapatov loss, and he gets back on winning ways to help push him back up the rankings, and he's also calling out Walter May. Pretty decent call out. Someone who's up and around the top 5, got a very good record still, good momentum, so yeah, no complaints there. Well, with guys like Keegan, you never quite know how it's going to go, even though they are very good. But he was the favourite. He comes in and gets the job done and keeps another great rated fight on the card for us too. TKO strike first round finish to also give himself a debut win, and he also, just like JJ Reed, he calls out an opponent in Bingwin Park. Everyone hates Bingwin. Maybe it's his personality, but Bingwin Park has so many call outs, he's like the most wanted. It's weird. Well, we finally dropped back to decent rated fight, but it's a second round finish for Sekozawa, who picks up a huge win against Yamashita, handing him back-to-back losses after he would have really liked to get back on winning ways. But it might be his time in the spotlight might already be up, because I was surprised in the first place that he got 4 wins in a row, to be honest. So he kind of pushed himself so far up into the rankings, it's kind of came back to bite him on the ass, basically. And Sekozawa's just sort of knocked him back down to his own sort of ego level, I guess you could say. Big win though for Sekozawa. He's also recalling out his challenge to Zacco. Okay, interesting. Well, I first read this and I kind of sighed, because Gage has lost again after him having such good draw. But then I realised he got a fantastic rated fight. But Levetsky wins this one on his debut too. I actually forgot it was his debut. Gosh, there's his stats for anyone curious. High level karate. So in terms of that, at face value, it's a very, very good debut for Levetsky, but Gage goes 2-2. Oh, he's also calling out Naji Aboud, who's not long had his debut, maybe 2 fights. Interesting call out. Naji won't really amass too much, but then again, neither will Levetsky. Once he comes up against guys who's got any sort of solid ground game, he's going to lose, just like Gage would. So he gets the upper hand today. Well, this could be our best critical. We've had about 4 great rated fights. We just had another fantastic fight in a row before we aren't even into the co-main event yet. And it's Gagan Boris' second round submission finish to get the job done. And wowee, what a fight it was as well. Okay. I see what a fight it was, but I didn't actually watch it. I skipped it. I'll only ever go back to these fights if it's an excellent, so we can both go over it. But then again, I've also had, I believe, an excellent on this save, and I went back and watched it, and it actually wasn't even that good. Or maybe it was a fantastic. I think it was an excellent though. I can't remember who. But Eddings loses today. Bora's on a 4-fight win streak now, I believe, after this. Yep. Which is so crazy to think that he lost his first 2 fights against guys who aren't even that good. Not really. And then he's pulled it back and managed to go on a bit of a streak here and push himself into the top 5. So good on you, Gagan. I'm happy for you, dude. He also demands a fight with the champ, so that's even better. He's setting himself up here. The stars are aligning. Okay, here we go. The first of 2, the first ever title fight 2 that we're ever going to have. That it's a rematch too. Like I said, Jim Carpenter, it was his second ever fight he had in the promotion way back at GFC 6. And it was a 3rd round finish. In fact, we can have a little look at it here as well if you want. So Zapatov was definitely winning on the ground, but it was the power punches. Jim was winning the stand-up and he managed to knock him down. So just like I said at the start of the card, it's literally a case of if Zapatov takes him to the ground, he's probably going to win. But they do also have 5 rounds to go. Jim has a very strong chin and 83% conditioning, which is very good. Both of them are also in very good camps. Zapatov, on the other hand, since losing to Jim, has beaten the likes of Kitahara, who was unbeaten for a while. He's beaten Dan Halverson, he's beaten Anissa, who of course was unbeaten at the time. That was the decider to get this fight. And he's also got very good conditioning. So I think Zapatov's going to take this. Honestly, he's the favourite. If Jim wins this, it'll be a huge win at welterweight for him to really cement himself as the number 1 welterweight that he can hang in the top spot and he can beat the best guys that the company's got to offer. But let's see if that's going to happen or if he's going to fall short at his second defence. Oh my god, what the fuck? I think Jim was about to finish Sapatov in the end, and he just got saved by the bell. Oh wow, what a fight. I'm not going to lie. I don't know who's won. Now, the fighter analysis, the commentator, or whatever you want to call him, he gave the first 2 rounds to Sapatov. But I honestly thought they went to Carpenter, and I'll explain why in my head, right? So, the first 3 rounds, it didn't go to the ground, and on the big exchanges, Carpenter seemed to be landing the most shots and striking, doing the most significant strikes. He was also really trying to go for those power punches, the whole fight too, and he ended up finally getting lucky at the last 10 seconds of the fight. But Sapatov tried to take Carpenter down in the first 4 rounds, but I'll only explain the first 3 because in the first 3 rounds, he didn't successfully land a takedown at all, but he was driving Carpenter and controlling him in the clinch up against the cage a lot and doing a lot of dirty boxing. But every single one of those rounds, he didn't do anything significant. Every single round, to the point where the referee separated them every single time. So even though it seemed like he was in control, he probably wasn't as much. Now I would say Sapatov won, was it the 4th? He won the 4th round, but I think the analysis gave it to Jim. But Jim in the 4th round, it was the only round where he didn't really show his striking, and Sapatov kind of controlled the fight, but it made that round very boring. But I'd say due to the lack of significant strikes from any of them, Sapatov won the round because of his clinch control. And then on the 5th round, I honestly thought Sapatov might finish it when he finally successfully landed a takedown on Jim, but then Jim knocked him down with a punch, which will count for something. I'm not sure if it would count more in favour of a takedown, but I honestly think Jim's won this 3-2. I honestly would be quite. I can maybe validate Sapatov winning 2, but if Sapatov's won this to 3 rounds or more, I'll be very surprised, and I honestly might run it back straight away, like before this year's over, which is something I don't usually do at this stage in the game, not until fighters have way more name value. But I don't know, guys. I feel like based on the metrics that's going on and stuff, let's have a look real quick. So yeah, wait. Oh, that was round 5. Hold on. Let's see who wins first. But I don't know. I feel like when Rob Baines fought against fuck, who was it? Was it Rob Baines? Oh my god, I can't remember. We had a title fight. Yeah, it was. It was Rob Baines and Bingwen Park. And I honestly thought Bingwen Park could beat him, but Rob got the win. So when the analysis comes up, usually it's not lying in the sense of what the judges are going to say, but right, they think Carpenter took the last round too, which surely he's going to win. But what a fight this has been, honestly. It's been so close in the sense with who's won what round. Right. It could even be a split decision. Right, oh no, they're not. Holy shit. One judge gave it 5 rounds to 0. That's not. But I think based on the first 3 rounds, it was really throwing me off that the judges or whatever the analysis was saying it was Sapatov that was winning, because I honestly thought it was Carpenter, especially those first 2 rounds. Yeah, I think it's gone in the way I think and not so much the way the game was generating the rounds. I think it's Carpenter, 4 rounds to 1. Like I said, I would have been surprised if Sapatov had won 3 and at a push he maybe won 2, and it looks like it's gone that way. Yeah, rightly so, to be honest. A very hard fought win for Carpenter on his second defence of the welterweight title. Gets a good rating. So the entire fight, Sapatov landed one of his 4 takedowns. He was winning with normal strikes, but it was the power punches that were coming in clutch for Carpenter. And if the fight probably lasted 20 more seconds, he would have won by TKO. But what a co-main. Went the whole 5 rounds, and all 5 rounds were pretty exciting, fairly back and forth, with Sapatov trying to slow the fight down and control it. But what a battle. What a performance from Jim. And he rightly deserves to cement his spot in that #1 welterweight as he goes 7-0. We're just going to move straight in. I'm not even cutting this out. We're going straight in. Matthew Dean, his first defence after beating Rob Baines, 6-0. Malfi Robbie. Now, usually, like the last fight, one fighter has a significant advantage over the other. They kind of both play off each other. Like Sapatov's good on the ground, Jim was good standing up. But on this case, Malfi Robbie's pretty good all round. But I don't know where he's going to get the upper hand on Matthew Dean, so we're just going to play it and just see how it sort of unfolds, as Matthew Dean's the huge favourite in this main event. I mean, even though he can finish guys, Matthew Dean, he's kind of like Khabib in the sense he's not the most exciting guy to watch, but he's just so good at what he does. Every time he fights, it's basically just a Matthew Dean show. It doesn't matter what you want to do against him, how you want to fight. It's like he's always 2 steps ahead of you. And every time I watch him, I'm on the edge of my seat waiting and waiting, silently kind of rooting for the other guy to win, just so it's like a surprise. Like I said, I've never, ever played the Global Verse and saw Matthew Dean lose. But then again, I've also never played for long enough where he starts to deteriorate. It's always him working up into his prime. But he's just so good. With Matthew Dean on this save, I might actually move him up to light heavyweight, like way later down the line. If he successfully defends his belt like 8-10 times in a row or something, I might move him up to light heavyweight. Maybe. But he's so good, guys. I don't even know what to say. He just dominates everyone he fights. Doesn't matter what's going on. It's going to be very hard for him to lose that title. 75% commercial, only 5% lower than the last show, so we still hit international. We should still take a good chunk of money, even though we are not in London, because we got about 280k on the gate because of the it's more lucrative there, so we take more money per person, basically. But if only the main event in co-main was slightly better, we would have took such great critical, with 4 greats, 2 fantastics, and even 2 more greats or something. But the show went pretty good, actually. I would say overall, all the debutants won. The people that were coming back off losses managed to get wins. Maybe it would have been nice for Yamashita to win, but overall, this episode went pretty well. Because it was a longer one, we just did the one show this episode. Almost 1% on Eurosports cable. We actually, I know I haven't really set this up yet, but we're going to give performance bonuses to the 2 fantastic winners, and we'll give submission to Bora and fight and KO. In fact, KO can go to Asanovic, even though they're fantastics. There we go, since they got a 5k bonus on performance. So with all that, we take 628k, which I believe, is that more than the last card? I can't remember. The London card at the end of last episode, I'm not too sure, but that's a lot of money, which puts us in a nice spot. But now that we've done a lot of these shows on Eurosports, we're going back to SportsTube for the next maybe 4 or 5 shows in a row to try and get that pop up. So we're sitting round about just under low level national for the end of the year, which is the sort of the goal for now. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.